Most creators post and it doesn't mean anything. Tips, tricks, frameworks, useful content that gets watched but immediately forgotten because there's nothing underneath it. No story, nothing for your audience to buy into. And the mission is what changes that. It's the goal you're chasing right now, the specific thing that you're building, the finish line that your audience can follow you towards, so that every piece of content you make becomes something bigger than one single video. Think about the creators that you follow, not just watch, but follow. There's a reason that you tune in. There's something happening in their lives that you want to see the next chapter of. That's not an accident. That's a mission. Without a mission, your content has no narrative. With one, every video compounds. Every win means something. Every setback pulls people closer. And in this episode, I'm going to show you guys how to define yours and how to talk about it in your content without it ever coming across salesy. So, without further ado, let's jump straight in. Vamos. In this lesson, I'm going to be going over what a mission is, why most creators don't have one, how having a mission gives your content meaning, the 4 components of a strong mission, why documenting is better than teaching, a worked example, the biggest mistake that people make around the mission, the pivot test, how to talk about your business in your content, and what it is that you guys can put in your bio which relates to your mission. So let's jump straight in. So what's this lesson about? The mission, right? It's what you're building towards. Your mission is the goal that you're chasing right now. Right? Your business, your venture, the current chapter of your life. And this is what gives your brand a story arc. In this lesson, we cover why every single personal brand needs a mission, why most creators get it wrong, and how to define your mission without trapping your brand inside of it. So, what is a mission? The mission is your current chapter of your story, right? Daniel Dalen's is his ecom brand. E-Man is scaling his education brand. Hormozi scaling acquisition.com to $1 billion. Each of these is a mission. It's not their identity though. It's what they happen to be doing right now. The mission is so important because it gives your audience something to follow, a goal, a journey, a finish line, something for them to come along with you for. And without one, your content doesn't have a narrative arc. It's just disconnected videos. And without one, your content just has no narrative arc. There's nothing for people to follow, right? So why do most creators not have a mission? Because all they're creating is tips content, framework content, random thoughts, how-to videos, right? There's no underlying vision. There's no quest. No, we're going from here to here. Come along for the journey, right? And that's why their audience doesn't get invested. Because there's nothing for them to fucking get invested in. Your mission gives your content meaning, right? Let's look at these 2 different creators and compare them. Creator A, post videos like, 5 hooks that get you views, how to write better scripts, why your edits suck. They're useful to an extent. It's probably reworded from somebody else's piece of content and information that people have already heard. But the more important one, what is it? It's forgettable. There's nothing about that individual which will be remembered from that piece of content. They might remember the hooks or the framework or whatever, but they're not going to remember the individual behind it. Now, let's look at Creator B. I'm scaling GMS to 100K a month, and here's the framework I'm using this week. We just had our biggest month, and here's what's happened. Behind the scenes of our new offer launch, right? It's the same expertise, but there's a story to it. And the audience then, as a byproduct, tuning to see what happens next. Creator B has a mission, and Creator A is just shouting tips into the world that get forgotten about. So, what makes a strong mission? It's 4 components, okay? The goal, the timeline, the why, and the stakes. The goal, what specific outcome are you chasing? For me, it's taking GMS to 100K a month, right? By when? When are we trying to achieve it? We're trying to achieve it in the next 6 months. Why does this matter beyond money? Because I'm building with people that I love and care about. And unlocking that achievement not only changes our lives individually, but changes our families' lives too, which ties into the stakes. What changes when you hit it or when you don't? A mission without a clear outcome and a timeline isn't a mission. It's just a hobby. So why is it more important for us guys to document as opposed to teach? And when you have these four components, you are then in a position when you can start documenting the journey, documenting the mission, as opposed to just teaching like every other motherfucker in the space, right? So I want you guys to stop teaching and start documenting. Because teaching content, right, there's only so much of it that you can teach before you repeat yourself, you repeat somebody else, etc., right? But documenting, now that's an infinite pool of content ideas. Every week is going to bring a new win, a new loss, a new lesson, and things for you to talk about with your audience. And also documenting just makes your content authentic by default, right? It's harder to fake what happened this week than it is to fake the 5 coaches, the 5 mistakes the coaches make, right? So here's an example of this actually in motion, right? So take a coach whose mission is to scale my coaching business to 100K a month in 12 months. It's a mission with a specific outcome, a timeline, and a story arc. Now, let's look at the content that all of a sudden becomes available because this mission is locked in. We have revenue milestone videos. Every time they hit a 20K month, a 40K month, a 60K month, there's a video that we can make about it. There's a day in the life behind the scenes of running the business. There's small sales call clips and breakdowns, right? The systems being built, the hires being made, the mistakes being learned from. These are all things that you can document on your way to the 100K month, right? The personal life around the work. How is this affecting your family, your training, your hobbies? Do they coexist? Do they not? Documenting what this mission is doing towards your personal life. The setbacks, the months that didn't go to plan, the deals that fell through, the clients that left. These are all things that you can create content about when your mission is evident to the audience. All of this content is sourced from the mission. But without the mission, those videos have no weight. They're just disconnected lifestyle posts because your audience don't know what it is you're working towards, why you're working towards it. Mastering your mission and dialing it in is going to be the difference between you guys just posting random content and creating a journey that is worth following for your audience, okay? So, what's the biggest mistake that I see a lot of people making? They make the mission their identity. And it's where most creators fuck themselves in the long term. Why? They build the personal brand entirely around their mission. So when they pivot, which is inevitable, their audience doesn't follow. Let's say a creator builds a how to scale your e-com store content for 18 months. They hit 100K a month, they sell the brand, and then they want to pivot into consulting. Well, guess what? The audience doesn't give a fuck about their consulting offer. And realistically, they don't even give a fuck about them. They only followed because they were scaling the e-com brand, and so are these people too. So what does this creator then have to do? They have to start over. Every single piece of content they've created for the last 18 months was only dedicated towards that offer. Now, instead of using the 18 months of content as a backlog and using that to compound into whatever they're doing now, they have to start again. Imagine I told you that you were working on your personal brand for the next year and a half, and then you had to start again. All because you messed one thing up. How annoyed would you be? I know I would be fucking pissed. Think about the time, energy, money, resources that went into creating that amount of content and it not being worth anything for you today. So how do we fix it, right? How do we avoid being that person? We build the brand around us, right? You need to build your brand around you. And your mission is just the current chapter you're going through. Think of your brand as a book, right? And we're in chapter 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. The mission in this period of our lives is this chapter. When we move into the next chapter of our lives, into our entrepreneurial journey, our book, right? We still want our audience to follow. And we do that by building the brand around us, not around our mission, okay? So when you change the mission, the audience should follow because they've bought into you as an individual. So this is a test to ask yourself. If you changed your business in 18 months from now, would your audience follow you into whatever you're doing next? If the answer is yes, then you've built a personal brand. The mission is a chapter and not the backbone of your brand. But if no, you've literally just built a content channel for this specific offer. And every time you move, you will have to rebuild and you'll have to start again. The 4 brand foundations that we've gone over in this module are how you make sure that the answer to this question is yes. And it's so important that you guys lock in, especially on the person and the edge. So I've told you about the mission, what it is, how important it is, right? What people do wrong. But how do we actually tie the mission into our content? You need to be referencing your mission constantly in your content, but in different ways, okay? Got a couple of different formats: your wins, your losses, the process, the vision, the day in the life. And what does that sound like? What does it look like? Wins: we just hit X, we just closed our biggest client, right? These are things that are tied to your mission that people will buy into. Losses: I lost a 20K client this week. Here's what I learned, right? Process: here's what we've changed this month. Vision: this is what we're building towards. Day in the life: what the mission looks like in real time, okay? You get these 5 nailed and mix them all into your content, you will have people coming into your ecosystem because they want to be a part of your mission and they want to buy from you. And you won't ever have to be salesy. It won't come across salesy because remember, you're documenting, not teaching, right? So how do you tie this into your bio, guys? These are some examples that you can use: scaling business from X to X, helping certain person do what, and also build X, Y, Z, which is the proof point, and then building the number one thing for who, what type of person you're building it for, okay? You can use this to place your mission into your bio, right? The bio will set the mission up and the content is the thing that's going to document it. So what's the shift in this lesson, right? You guys previously come into this thinking my personal brand is my business. But after this lesson, I want you guys to think this way: my personal brand is me, and the business that I'm running right now is this chapter, okay? So what are the key takeaways from this lesson? Without a mission, your content has no story, right? If your mission is your identity, your brand will die the minute that you pivot into another lane. So we need you to define a clear mission, document the journey, but build the brand around you, your stories, your beliefs, your edges, and your personality. And that is how you guys will build something that compounds across multiple business, as opposed to something that resets every single time you pivot into a new lane. I hope you took value from this episode. I hope you took value from this module. And as always, guys, I shall see you in the next one. Vamos.